that is our vision in terms of we want to really shift the narrative when it comes to speaking about allergies, and it shouldn't be such a stigma, but actually a positive thing where, like, one, for restaurants, it's great for them if they can cater to this audience. Like, they've got a lot of, like, 4 times more loyal customers coming back, spending more. But also, like, just the fact that it should just be something you can talk about, like, help if you can destigmatize and having that conversation.
Welcome to Captive Conversations, brought to you by Captive Wi-Fi. I'm your host, Adam Foreman. This podcast brings you the best stories from suppliers, marketers, and operators from our beloved hospitality sector. Now, let's get on with the show. Hello, everyone. Episode 72. Oh, you waved. I didn't even ask you to wave, and you waved. Oh, damn. I'm well impressed. You've been training. Really excited to have the girls from Served in today, Eve and Alana. We're going to learn more about you. You've already been on the podcast, my colleague, last year. Was it this year?
Yeah. Oh God, was it like September?
Yeah, or just before August.
Yeah. And that was like, you were like, it's really exciting.
Yeah.
But lots of things have changed. So it's really interesting to see what's happened now. So thank you for coming. I'm really excited to hear the story again, or more about the story, because I've obviously had to listen about the other one, and see where you are now, and see what in real life, what people are using with it as well. So that's exciting. Anyway, I will go back to sort of how we start. So the last guest we had on was Matt from Klaviyo. That was my remote pod in Boston. He was awesome. He knows a lot about Klaviyo, so really good platform. His question was, what are the most valuable aspects of hospitality technology that brands should consider when making that decision?
Yeah, I think from our experience over the past year or so, what we found is it streamlining things operationally, or is it enhancing the guest experience in some way? And then if it's doing one of those things, is it also really lightweight to adopt? So in busy service or busy operations, is it intuitive enough and easy enough to use that it might be solving a great problem and it might be a great product, but if it's not really seamless to use, nobody's going to use it. And that's something that we learn along the way, like streamlining our own product. But yeah, I'd say operationally, so whether that's like compliance or reducing workload or making a task much easier, or then on the guest experience side of things. So is it improving that experience? Is it making people want to go there? Is it making them want to come back? So that's what I'd say.
Yeah, I like that. I like that. Maybe you'll give you the second question if you like, or whatever. Okay, so second question is, what do you think the most critical areas are to focus to drive guest loyalty and LTV? He said, like you were saying, there's lots of personalization things. There's even more when it comes to that. So take that in any direction. Yeah. No, that's a small question or not, but I mean that.
I think it's really important to be memorable, like the experience itself. And I think things that contribute to that are kind of on that personalization piece, not just useless personalization, but really meaningful personalization. So for us, obviously, we're working with dietary requirements and allergies, and sometimes that can extend to multiple, and being able to almost input all of your requirements, have an experience tailored to you is really important. And actually, we were talking to one of our best friends who lives in America now, and he was out with a colleague in San Francisco on a walk, just talking about their experience, and that she'd just been to London. I was like, oh, actually, I had an amazing experience at this restaurant called Dishoom, and I forgot I'm vegetarian and have a nut allergy. And I had this really cool thing where you could filter for all of, like, I could filter for all of those. Yeah. And he turns and goes,
I know them.
It's actually
that's served.
So, like, the fact that it's transatlantic.
That's really good.
Like, and then also like what helps provide that memorable experience is supporting the staff as well and making sure they're informed with all the information they need to provide the best experience, confident in having, like, providing that experience to a guest. And then I thought I had a third one. Yes, sir. And then also I think just transparency is so important. Like, being able to just give your guests kind of all the information on what you can and can't do, and always let them feel empowered to make their decision rather than always take it upon yourself. And perhaps that's where things can go wrong. So that's really important, letting the guests kind of have that autonomy.
Yeah, let them drive, I guess. I think one of the interesting things we'll probably talk about later, and a lot of people talk about, is adoption, right? And giving a new tech to your staff and end up being like deployed. And there's actually, I can't believe there's actually a specific where I was talking to someone last week about it. But basically, yeah, finding a way of deploying that in a right way. And if it's not deployed in the right way, it's ineffective, right? You can give someone a tablet and say, we're using this now. There's no, there's no adoption. It's just left as another tool that they in their armor that no one knows about. So we'll talk about it in a bit later. Okay, let's go on to the standard questions. So do you want to do one each maybe? Or okay, best hospitality experience.
Do you want to go or do you want me to take it?
Do you have one in mind?
What's the next one?
The next one is best hospitality tech.
I can take the best experience. I've got two.
Okay.
And they're for the same reason. So the first one is like a few years ago at Dishoom. And this is one of the reasons why we really wanted them, like our first customer. So went to uni, lived close to Dishoom, so whenever like anyone was just going out for dinner, it was always my go-to because they were so, like, at the time a couple of years ago, it was much less common to be really like on it with allergies and asking about it. And when I first went there, I was like, this is the most that I felt like somebody has cared about my allergy that wasn't necessarily like really high-end sort of fine dining. And I remember being like, this is now my safe spot to go to because I just felt so looked after. And to me, like, that's what hospitality is all about. I just showed they were taking extra time. They were really careful. They were really considerate about like the language they used around it, and making sure that I felt as comfortable as possible. So that's like my first answer. And then the second one is like in a similar way. I went to Le Manoir for my parents' wedding, and I was really young, and often I would have to miss out on loads of different food because of my allergies, and everyone was kind of having the same food, but for me they created like something completely separate, like a whole new menu just for me. And the chef came out, he took me, I was like really little, he took me into the kitchen, he showed me all the chefs making my food, and so I was like, this is amazing. Like, I'd never had an experience where someone had kind of gone out of their way and like built a whole new thing for me and made sure that there was no course or aspect to the experience that I was left out of. And that was the first time I'd ever had that. So both wonderful in different ways.
Very nice stories, actually. I think the challenge you have is that you want to feel safe.
Yeah.
And my wife has allergies, right? So my kids were like, oh God, okay. Having a conversation, and then so on. But if you've been somewhere before or know, so I like my local Italian, he's awesome, he's lovely, great guy. As soon as he sees her walking in, gives her a wink. Don't worry about coverage. So she knows whatever comes out, anything, that'll be for her. I mean, it's only like 25 seats, right? 30 seats. It's like a little place, but the chief was saying it's that, where should we go? But we have been trying other places, so I'll talk to you about that later. So it's really interesting to see now when you go out and you experience other places. But I like that. That's really nice. That's really cute as well. You could be taken to the kitchen and being like,
I was like, this is amazing.
Yeah. Okay, best hospitality tech.
Yes, I think one that just really comes to mind, I think it's just when kind of in teenage years, you have like kind of friends' birthday dinners, and when there's almost an activity that's also going on. I remember going to Inamo and having the interactive projectors on the tables and being able to order on there. I'm for sure we could watch the kitchen and them cooking our food, and then like being able to play games or having koi fish swimming around whilst you eat. I always thought that was just very novel and very fun.
It's really interesting. No one's really done it, like copied it. But the concept is still there and it's still going, it's still really busy. And I love that no one's like gone, well, this is a really good idea. For them, especially, it's great for them. But I love.
I do think there's, I'm not sure if it exists, but a gap where like, if I'm even at a really nice restaurant and there's just always white tablecloths. I'm thinking like, imagine if you had your meal, you could have maybe not interactive, but projections around your plates of like that really reflect.
I think I've seen something. I've seen something similar in like a white table restaurant where I don't remember where it was, but I did see it. Might be in America somewhere, where you've always got a white projection of a plate, and every so often you have like a little something crawling on the. Not crawling, but a little thing popping. Wrong way. A little character. Here we go. Coming onto the plate and sort of walking around. Maybe moving, like digging stuff, but then making it look like it's a dish. It's like it would look quite cool. Keep you entertained. Yeah, I think it's sort of taking competitive socializing to another level. It can be quite cool to do some fun stuff, even like table tennis. Wouldn't that be cool? Anyway, whatever. But yeah, I agree. I agree with you. Okay, so this one's an origin story. So let's go back. Let's go back to the very beginning and talk about why, when, how, where it all came from to fix a problem for you, really.
Yeah.
And for everyone else, obviously. But where did it begin?
So, I mean, yeah, I've grown up with severe food allergies, but also just love food, love cooking, love trying new places, come from a very foodie family. So navigating those both together can be really tricky because I don't want to have to always only go to the same place or have something that's I don't think is that fun or exciting. And I think for me, the moment where I really wanted to do something about it was in university, so where we met. And we really bonded over our combined love of food. We became best friends over like cooking, trying new places in London. But quite often I'd have bad experiences. Either the fact that places would be sort of terrified to serve me. They'd ask me to sign a waiver, so they'd take no responsibility. I'd get there, and even if I'd done loads of like prep to figure out where I can go, what I could have, I'd just turn up and they'd be like, no, sorry, we can't serve you. Or you can have like a side salad, which is just not why I came to that Italian restaurant or whatever it might be. And then on the other hand, kind of even scarier than that is when they'd be too relaxed about the problem. They'd maybe not understand how serious allergies can be and what it could mean. And that's where mistakes have happened. I've ended up in hospital far too many times with life-threatening allergic reactions. And it's also not only that night or that day of the reaction, it's actually the whole kind of anxiety and loss of trust in anywhere after that for such a long period of time that you have to like really work at getting back. And Alana's been there when things have gone wrong, where it's meant to be like fun meal out with friends or family, where either like I'm excluded from the situation because of it, or taking me to hospital. And we both did engineering, so we're very much like we see a problem, we want to solve it. And we started really looking into how we could do something about it in our fourth year at uni.
So was that like the right time to do a project, what to work on, and then light bulb was actually let's do. Well, were there other things that you were looking at too before?
I think it was in a module, and it's a great module. It's in the fourth year, and you've got to find a problem that is worth building a company around to solve. And I mean, the more real you can make it, the more the better grades you get. So obviously, it started out as a project, and I think we'd had like 7 different ideas floating about, but like we just kept being pulled back to this one. And obviously I was trying to be objective. I was like, I want this solved, like I want us to do this. And so we worked on it then and like discovered so much about the problem space, not only from like the guest.
We had research. I guess you deep dive into research, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So not just most people would if they're looking at I want to build nowadays, they'll be like I want to build something, right? And they'll do some research, during it. And I get you'd had to put the research behind it because it's part of the course.
And also like it was going outside of my own lived experience and thinking, okay, how else do other people experience this problem? And also like kind of comforting to know that it wasn't only me sort of struggling with this. And then also diving into the problem that restaurants have as well, and how much it's kind of become top priority over the past few years for them, and seeing how it's changing, how it's dealt with. That's the origin of it.
Yeah, it's really interesting. Well, so on your side, I'm seeing, I mean, obviously no allergens, so you're okay. So, no after allergies. What's the view like? Obviously going out, there's that worry of if you're going somewhere that says it's okay and then your best mate is like, is there a worry of that sort of side?
Yeah,
and then
it's just so. I think for me as well, like as you've said, also come from a very food focused family and enjoying experiences over food. And I think I get so much like joy and fulfillment, like whether it's cooking for people and sharing food with people or going out to share food with people. And I think whenever obviously seeing like, my best friend, whether it's just not being served or treated like terribly in a restaurant because they're not taking it seriously or like rolling the eyes, and like I feel like brimming with anger, I think just makes me really like motivated to actually change it as well, because I think just like people, everyone should be able to enjoy. I feel so grateful that I can go somewhere and have a great time, and I think everyone should have that same experience, or tailored to them so they feel safe. But I think everyone kind of deserves to have that.
Yeah, well, everyone should be able to have any same experience that everyone else is having.
Yeah.
So I think that so it's really interesting to understand the challenges, right? So my family has allergies, not as bad as you, but and they're not life threatening, which is great for us. But it's interesting to see. So okay, so you fourth year project, great idea, putting into practice. Then what was the next step from there?
So I mean, the same Dishoom that I spoke about earlier was close to where we lived in throughout uni. And we literally used to walk in, we'd done some like Figma mock-ups and like we had this great idea, and like so we'd done loads of research of the problem. We were literally walking into like the Dishoom Kensington, hey, what do you think of this idea? Like, you talk to us about this, talking to like literally walking around, like talking to all the servers. Like we went at like a time we thought would be quietest.
They're probably
never.
It's pretty busy.
And just showing what we were doing. And then it was like that moment where on the server side, they were like, wait, this would actually be really useful for us. And we were like,
I mean, one of the things to mention, and probably to let everyone else know, I think there's like 30 items in like some dishes.
Yeah.
Dishoom isn't just a pasta plate. Obviously, most people know it's a great wine, but the amount of ingredients inside like a couple of different dishes is insane.
Yeah. Really complex dishes, also huge menu. So they were like, wait, this would really help us, because we were going to them because of my own experiences and them being like really on it and really, really kind of forward about it. And like they wanted to initiate that conversation of
it wasn't a worry, right? I think it wasn't a worry.
Yeah.
We have friends of mine as well where their friends, girlfriends, wives won't discuss it. They'll just say, I'll have this without that and that.
Yeah.
And then when even, because it's sometimes embarrassing, right? Having the conversation of narrowing what the response is going to be like.
Yeah. I think it's because people have had sort of years of terrible experiences, either being refused service or restaurants kind of making a huge fuss, making the person feel really embarrassed, and so they're less likely to speak up, which obviously like compounds the whole problem. And it is something that we're really trying to kind of tackle. We want to reduce that stigma, and with us being so open about talking about it and wanting to solve this problem, hopefully making other people feel like they should be able to speak about it and not feel embarrassed. But obviously it massively depends on, like you said, the reception of what they'll get from the servers or the manager about it.
I think also to add, if there's anything that comes out of this conversation, I think a really important thing to highlight, whether it's yourself with allergies or you're a friend or partner to someone with allergies, please, just as much, I know that research can be bad and it can really ruin the experience, but when you can, make sure you tell your server, because it's not just like maybe you see the dish is like doesn't have something in it, but like I think now working with restaurants, we see the protocols that go in place like in the back, which maybe you're not made aware of. And like they will do everything they can to, like, whether it's changing the gloves, wiping down the surfaces, changing the utensils, and just make sure you tell your server, please. Like it's really, really important, because you don't know what goes on.
But I guess you've now seen it from probably the kitchen side, because you've been into the kitchen and seen how that works. The most people don't see that. They don't know that a protocol X will hit in place. Do you know what I mean? It's like a military. Sometimes it is. Knew everything now. It's super interesting to understand how hospitality do it. People just are given that it's just going to be, so please maybe it's a kitchen, the wipe down, the gloves, the knife, everything.
We did like a shift, like shadowing head chef in Dishoom Covent Garden.
Oh, that's so cool.
I think, was it Friday night?
Oh my God.
And it was insanely busy, but it was such a cool experience. But then also, seeing
I feel that's a big enough
do.
kitchen because most kitchens are freaking dying.
Yeah.
So
I know you have to watch your back. You've got to be on it. But like actually going into the kitchens and literally seeing how they change what they do also gives me even more sort of peace of mind and makes me like completely the opposite of embarrassed about talking about it. And it can be kind of scary to do, especially when you're with maybe people that don't know as much about it. But I think just that like advocating for yourself and making sure you're giving the restaurant the best chance of giving you the best experience.
Yeah, I think, listen, for when we book, I'll break it down on the reservation information and hope that it will be passed on.
Yeah.
Because often reservation information, we sit with the reservations team or the person there, and then that. There are some restaurants that have something called a chip printer, which is pretty cool. The printer sits next to it, so that'll print out, and then the reservations person will give it to the waiter, and the waiter will have it on a little thing. And then I think that piece works quite nicely when we've done that with that flow, if they're using technology in the right way.
Yeah.
So, and I will say, not that often has that happened recently. In that flow.
Yeah, I think that comes back to the like. Doing kind of the personalization actually well. Yeah. Like that's where you can kind of see it flow through the whole experience. Yeah. And I think that's an important point.
It's interesting. My brain goes to automations that could potentially happen with reservation systems. So because reservation platforms like Resi, 7 Rooms, Open Table, all had tags. Right. Yeah. So if you had a book before or during a booking, you've written in you put in those tags and images. Wouldn't it be nice if you got a message with your confirmation with that little link? Yeah. And immediately you're like, the worry is sort of like lifted. You know that there's not the additional worry to have the conversation. There's no nervousness about having to ask the question. And also using, we'll talk about in a minute how it's all built, but using a better view of how things are. Because I mentioned, I went to a place the other day and I mentioned allergens, and they basically told me to scan a QR code on the menu, and the menu was just this for the old school. Yeah. Like this. Yeah. How did look it up? Yeah. And on my phone, I was like, I can't even read it. And half the information wasn't correct. So we had a great experience at the end, but that piece was difficult. So I think, that those working with the marketing teams, you could really do something really interesting as well.
I think this is something that Hawksmoor are really doing well. And since we've gone live with them, they've been sending it once a booking comes in. They've been sending it to the group so people can check before they come, because I think that's something that we found that in group bookings, often if it's like a work related thing, people might not want to be kind of on their phone. So it's really important that they can check beforehand. Yeah. And having that experience of it being sent to the group, so everyone in the group can then check on their own and kind of get an idea.
There's no stigma, right? There's no stigma to it. You can have. I think that's really interesting. There's so much possibilities that could be happening as well, and also plugging into eventually looking at the online ordering stuff as well. I haven't been able to, because of the challenge that I think. Anyway, I'm going too far forward to go back. Okay, so you went in Dishoom, you bothered all the staff in Dishoom, they now love you. Yeah. I mean, listen, 2 girls coming in having chat and go out having restaurants when it's busy, not so busy. I mean, Dishoom's a different sort of place. I mean, they probably were happy to see you, and also they probably knew you were regulars, so they were like, "We're going to make sure we're going to have as much information as possible." So during the conversations and the designs and stuff with them, and obviously knowing that you wanted that to be the first customer, obviously, I'm sure internally they were all chatting about it, and head office was like, "Who are these people coming in?" But what was it? I mean, you're lucky, to be fair, to have a brand like that to be able to sort of push on. One, you knew that you knew that they were on it. Yeah. So that's the perfect sort of test case, really. Yeah. So how long was it tatting backs and forwards, going in? How many times did you go?
I mean, we went in a lot, and I think we went into over 100 restaurants, other than Dishoom at the time, to be like, look at this, talk to us. Yeah. And getting feedback, and that was a lot of places. We just walk around under all over and just try and get as much feedback as possible.
Did you do the research on the celiac thingies and those other websites? Because there are a couple of websites out there where you can go. Did you pick some of those as well?
Yeah. So I mean, my whole life I've been trying to use them. Yeah. Not celiac, but the other ones are kind of more review based. Yeah. But often it would be kind of difficult because you can have the situation of it's telling you where not to go, or it's allergies are very specific. For reading a gluten review isn't helpful for me with a peanut allergy. And we have kind of tried to use them, but yeah, it can be tricky. But yeah, we looked at everything that was out.
I'll be honest with you, it's not a bad thing to have a project to go to 100 restaurants, and not that you could probably eat in all of them.
No,
but it's so
not as a student.
Yeah, no, of course. The interesting thing could have been, so my brain goes to, hold on, let's say I'm going to tell them I work for a company and we're doing a review on your allergens. You would have eaten for free everywhere. I mean, think about it. Back in the day, you would have, in hindsight, it would have been like, right, send us an email for my domain name. We're coming in to do a review on how you're challenged with allergens. Yeah. My brain goes to, I would have eaten everywhere for free. So I mean, because you would have come in and they would have gone,
we should have met you there.
Oh man, next time.
But I think something also really important that I think our degree taught us was that it's so important to go to your customer and or whoever's using it and get that feedback and always iterate on that. Like we hadn't from university hadn't worked in hospitality except for bar jobs that we did. Yeah. So we were like, we need to make sure that we're not building a product that we think they're going to want. We need to make sure we go in and really just understand that. And I think, but what's been almost maybe an addition, like a help with the recipe for our success is like everyone we've worked with, we don't call them like a customer, they're our partner with us. Like they're working with us and we're talking to any stakeholder in the team that is going to be in the hands of to make sure that what we're developing helps them and helps in terms of their operations and is as seamless as possible and will actually be a benefit.
Even now, going into the restaurants and just being there and people know our faces now and they come over and they ask us questions or they say what's been working or what's not, and we just want to sit there and listen to it all.
I think it's really important to be invested, and the iterating thing is really important. I love the partner thing. That's great. You're absolutely right. You need to feel like, listen, right now there's two of you and it's like a little family. And it's the family business right now. So that's how you're coming across. And I love that because when people see you and recognize you, and as you start to go to other places and probably forevermore get free food, I'm kidding, and they see you and you're open and approachable. There'll be other companies that go in and just stand there in their suit in the corner, just keeping an eye on things. No one will talk to them, and then they'll leave. But it is really interesting. It's like the mystery dinosaur thing, but you're also getting. It's really nice to hear that people are consistently telling you. Because obviously you've got to change, right? Because if you're going to change, iterate. We always have stuff that I was with a partner of ours the other day, and we do feedback, right? On the Wi-Fi, easy peasy. And I said to her, you haven't responded to any of the feedback. And she's like, do you know how busy I am? I am so busy. I can't even see what's going on. I get millions of you. Can you just automate it? And I was like, yeah. She was like, great, thanks. Those sort of little things where we are talking to people and asking questions. Can we change this? Can you do that? We do that the whole time. It is so important to make it easy. And also nice hearing. You'll eventually have that customer advisory board where the stakeholder important people, it will be, and then a nice thing is with some hospitality brands, they've all got end of shift information. So it's really nice. It'd be interesting to see if you can make them add in feedback on this. And then you can receive that. Okay, so
actually was to add, but they were saying how you were the partner and you kind of made something based on the feedback they had. And I think we're also very we do that too, super agile. And when we've got the partners we work with saying, look, this is literally such a pain. Can you fix it? We're like, we will make about literally, and it's just because every
hold on, dig around now.
Friday 6 p.m. Cool, this help, and then just okay, fix, done. And I think it's so important to show that one, it's what we're working with some of the best, we'd love the brands we work with and they're best in house, best in service, and the fact that anything that will help them as well generally will help everyone else. It's kind of almost like a team effort in a way where all the brands you work with, when one of them want a feature, realistically it'll be helpful in another place as well. It's what's about adding something that's being.
Well, I think you're not a payment system, you're not a POS system, you're a completely different product, and I think it needs to work for everyone in sort of the same way. Do you know what I mean? So, okay, so lots of 100 different restaurants, all the findings in, and then into building.
So went away, built what we thought was something great. I mean, looking back, it wasn't. And
never is. Come on, I mean, I love the first ever skeletons of people's stuff, and I'm like, wow, that's how it was.
It's when we look back, it's insane. But
it's only a year. Hold on, sorry. I love you saying that when you look back. It's that sounds like 10 years ago. You're looking a year ago, right? Yeah.
And we went, we tested it out in a couple of independents in London, and we got amazing feedback. And we really had to kind of take it on the chin that some of it was great, but some of it was really negative. And we realized, okay, I mean, everyone tells you that you need to put out, if the first product you're putting out, you're not embarrassed by, then you've overdone it.
Yeah.
And like wholeheartedly stand by that.
Yeah.
Because I think it did get to a point where the direction we wanted to take the product in wasn't really right for the types of people we were testing with. So you had that situation of like that partnership wasn't quite right. And you had to, even though it's the very first ones, you need to kind of break away from that and then like take what you've learned from those situations. And we learned so much that I think it was just before we were doing the last podcast about a year ago. That's when we had our first ever sort of testing of it, and then went out to the US for 3 months for the Techstars racer. That was really fun. Very intense.
No, it sounds cool, but it was draining, right?
Yeah. My God. Yeah.
And they just put us into a state of just, I think in a way, because it removed us and plopped us somewhere else in the world, we could just focus on it. And we had like 3 months just dedicated focus time.
No distraction.
All we thought about, what we lived and breathed. And we still do that now. But I think having that, I think it was an amazing transformative time to take the feedback we had from the pilots we did.
Yeah.
And I think get to a point of transitioning from an idea to actually, okay, let's build all the foundations to build a real company. And I think it was that 3 months that took us from me, okay, we're kind of like
we're doing
day by day.
Yeah.
But actually, okay, how do we structure our work here? We're still figuring that out, but we're getting there. But I think like, how do we make sure we're hitting our like milestones like near and far, and really helped us just build all those foundations.
So when I was speaking,
and it was when we were actually out there, and that's when Dishoom was like, okay.
So you consistent in your outbounding? Literally was like consistent.
Constantly like
we've done this now, we've done that.
Yeah. And then it was while we were out there, I think like halfway through, they were like, okay, like let's do this. Like we want this.
Yeah. And was that mainly also a push from the team in Kensington? Was that all of them? You were like, just tell the head office, because they are a different type of team. They're all like a big family. That whole brand is very different to most restaurants. They're not all siloed. They all sort of like everything gets reported up. It's the owners and founders are all, and directors all very involved. So it's a different type of,
Yeah. And I think like, so we were mainly talking to Andrew, the head of tech there. And he was sort of just guiding us, giving us feedback, giving us real insight into like operationally how this could work. And obviously our aim was like, we want them as our first customer, but we didn't know that would properly happen, especially after like ups and downs in the testing phase. And then, it was while we were out there, they were like, let's get a timeline in place. And then that's when we've sort of like absolutely heads down building out the product.
Another question, like there's code etiquette, right? I'm going to hear it afterwards as well, because if you build something and you look at it and go, tweak that a little bit, like how does that work?
I think
we can really, because
you're aligned.
Throughout universe, I think having worked on so many like intense projects anyway, like we very much over the years found our way of working. And I think if that's even come into served, and we, without like saying on the code side, we haven't like formally defined exactly what we both do, but I think we both find things that we're drawn to, and we complement each other very well. And don't step on each other's toes with it, but are still there to help give that feedback and go to each other for advice. When I do this, does that sound right? Or like, what do you think? And I think it's been a very like collaborative, was hive mind the whole.
I think it's also about like not having your ego kind of wrapped up in it. It's like, okay, we set out, we go away and we build these things, and then we show each other what we built, we use it, we debug it, we test it, and then we're super honest about what we think about it. And if we disagree, and we have a conversation and eventually get to what the right outcome is. But it's around like, we're never like offended. It's always about like, okay, give me the feedback. Like I want to hear like the raw kind of truth. And
also being friends as well. Like if you didn't set that line in the sand, you'd be living. You wouldn't be staying together. You would be like, it's hard. Loggerheads together of different ways. You always hear stories of founders who like, because you've set it in the sand early, and you've made that point as well. I think you've actually put a nicer ring around it. You know,
Yeah.
as you said, if you say, let me know, I won't be offended.
Yeah.
You know, I've done something really cool. And then, you know, for me, I'd be like, you know, tear in my eye, have a think about it, or, you know, and so on. But I think that's really amazing. Okay. So 3 months there, you've still got mentors, which is amazing. When did you go live with first customer?
So actually, we went live first with Dishoom Permit Room in May. It was May the 7th. I think. And so that went live. I think it's just very much to see kind of in practice how it would work. And I think we tested for them to see if it could roll out the whole of Dishoom. And then that went really, really well. And they brought the start date forward.
So back to that, what was the like the first feedback from, because the Permit Room, how many times?
Four.
So which one did you do?
We did all of them at the same time. So
Okay.
like Notting Hill, Oxford, Cambridge, and Brighton.
Okay, so
We were sat in the Notting Hill one at like 8 a.m.
Yeah. Did you sort of have the little poppers to go like? Yeah.
But we like sat in there like watching people use it, and like the first thing.
Sorry, with going back, did you work with their tech to make a deployment, to understand adoption, to have a chat about how it would happen?
Yeah,
what was that like?
Like so there was trainings with the GMs and then the kind of the leadership team, and then there was training. Then they went away and did training with the teams on the floor, making sure kind of in their briefings how to use Served, and then we were there kind of the morning of all the
You did your breakfast as well, right? So, yeah.
So
I had breakfast.
But I think even to the feedback on the first day I went live in Parent Rooms is just the staff saying just how easy it was for them to use and clear and intuitive, and it's helped them kind of just have those interactions with their guests and provide as best customer experience they could.
And it was the director of ops that came over to us and was like, when can we get this everywhere?
I really
we were like, whoa, okay. Like the first morning it's being used, it's like, we can't go back. Like, we need this across the whole of Dishoom. And then we sort of set out the timeline for rolling it out across everywhere.
Yeah. So what? So then it became. So I saw your LinkedIn post of you in the tablet and stuff, which is cool, which I didn't know about. Which we'll talk about in a bit. So QR code on menu, basically. So like Annika from Two Forks, she's like where you put allergens in menu side area, which I love.
That's my favorite part of the menu. It's like the part that I look at first.
Yeah.
So for me, I can't believe that side. Yeah.
And so it's really interesting because when we talked about it, you were like, that's my favorite area. But yeah, so straight to QR basically, and then platform to launch to and branded. So how does that work? So right now, I went to somewhere last week, scanned it, got a PDF that wasn't fully updated and not easy to read. I wish I had my iPad with me or a projector because it was like super small, and it wasn't even there. I don't know. Anyway, what was the process of like, okay, right, so we know people are going to use it on mobile. Then the thought process of, okay, we need an iPad, we need something bigger. Yeah. How was that process? Was that feedback from people?
So I think we built it to be responsive, so it can be accessible via web or tablet or phone, and that is important because people with allergies, 70% of them won't go somewhere unless they've seen an allergen menu before, and generally you see that on a computer. So we know, so also on the guest experience site, it's not just QR codes, but also accessible via the web on a restaurant's website to see the allergens. That's really important. But I think very much making sure every time we were designing anything, it was just testing it on as many screens as we could and sending it to like the relevant people to make sure they were testing it, and it just all looked very good. And then we really care about the branding and at working with restaurants to make sure it really reflects their branding. I think
I like that. I've seen the Dishoom one. It's their color schemes, logos, their feel of it. The only way I know it's you is your little logos there. Yeah. Do you know what I mean?
And I think that's really important from a guest perspective 100%. Because so many times I'm brought, like, whether it's like the paper matrix, the binder, or it's like an online PDF, nothing's in the same order as what it is on the menu that everyone else is using. Often it's not update. It's like everything from Christmas 2012 is like the example of like I've opened it and it's Christmas 2012 on there, and I'm like, the anxiety sort of skyrockets when you see that, and there's crumbs on it as well. You're like, what are the crumbs? Yeah. And you're like, this is like a bit terrifying. And it's like a bad start to like the first thing that you see. Whereas like for everyone else, it's this beautiful laid out menu. And to us, that was so important that like the order of our menu is the same order, it's the same heading, it's the same like style, so you feel like you're getting a safe but also a similar experience to everyone else.
Also for the staff, it's easier for them to find the information too. They can like either type in and find it or just scroll section.
I can imagine the amount of times that you've gone somewhere and you see the look on the waiter's face, right? And literally of like terrified.
Yeah.
Absolutely terrified. And I think that's a weight off of their shoulders, because they can just either let you do that or bring out the tablet and then, you know, easily, you know, because I completely understand where you're coming from. I think we've been to places before where they have had like on the menus and it's not been that intuitive. I've been to places where you've unticked stuff and there's like 2 things you can have on the menu, but actually there isn't. It's just that they've linked stuff the wrong way. So we so could have gone to that restaurant and they could have easily changed a chicken breast to not have all the extra bits. But because the menu on the website had that with some basic tickers, literally, again, it was like, you can have a salad. So it's really interesting. And also to allow the customer to be able to have the wait staff, the operations team, to have that not worry. Because again, it's a worry, right? You say something wrong that can really damage, or you've been there. It can damage the brand as well.
And that was a big part of like when we were doing the exploration problem research, like we spoke to restaurant owners, we spoke to operators, but we also spoke to serving staff, and they were either absolutely terrified because they were like, that is a lot of responsibility on me to remember all these things. Or they were like, oh, I don't really understand the problem. And that's, I think, stems from like the 2 sort of experiences I had, and then it matched up and it sort of clicked in my head of like, they're either terrified or they're not like trained well enough on the problem.
So, I mean, I wanted to touch on one thing you told me the other day when we spoke. The coffee shop the coffee shop visit with saying I'd like a coffee, and can you talk to me about that? I think that was I mean, I'll let you tell about it. It's a really interesting story, like a massive awesome clip as well, to be fair, but because great, it's casual dining restaurants, fine dining restaurants is great, but there's so many QSRs. Like you've got Natasha's Law at Pret has a huge freaking tablet out there where you can do stuff. I think it's really not too nice, but it's there. But you know, going into a coffee shop, having specific allergies and the understanding, I could have get that from.
I mean, it's when you go in and you're getting a coffee, just like standard latte, and you're like, I've got a severe tree nut and peanut allergy. Is this safe? And you get these sort of crazy stares back of like, it was a coffee. Of course, it doesn't have any tree nuts in it. Like, don't be ridiculous. Like, and they look at you like you're insane, and you feel really like kind of awkward asking, because that's always the response. And then I'm like, well, do you use almond milk? And they're like, oh yeah, of course, we've got oat milk, we've got almond milk. Like, what do you want? And I'm like, well, do you froth the normal milk or the oat milk with the almond milk? They're like, yeah. And I'm like, well, then there is a potential cross-contamination of nuts in my latte. And I think it's like going down through those steps of, there might not be whole peanuts dropped to the latte or hazelnuts or almonds. But it's that.
It's still cross-contamination.
Of like, that milk is then contaminated with the other milk that you're using. And it's like, if it's not in the forefront of your mind, or if you don't know someone who has that allergy.
When you said that, my brain didn't even go to almonds or tree nut. I don't even think about it. Like, it's just.
And I mean, the best experiences I have in coffee shops are when they're like, oh my God, my sister's got a tree nut allergy. We've used this, like, we have a different frother. This is how we clean it. Are you comfortable with this? It's like the best thing ever when a family member or someone they know. But if not, they're like.
So the question for you is, I go into a coffee shop. There's one coffee machine with one frother. A wipe down of that isn't going to help you, right? It's just doesn't. That's not going to work.
I think it's got to be separate. And they've got to really understand that they can't be mixing up which market goes in. Like,
no, I get that. The market thing I think is important. I think lots of people do that. I think the question from what I see is one coffee machine, separate mugs, and then separate cloths. But when it comes to, I don't know the answer. I'm interested to understand, if you just wipe it with that individual cloth for milk and then do the steam, is that enough?
No.
I think that's why the transparency piece is so important.
I agree.
If the server just tells you what they do or don't do, then the person then can make that decision. If they don't feel safe, they can walk out, but they're not going to feel hopefully super bitter about it. Okay, they told me they can do it. I can't eat here. I'll drink here. I'll go somewhere else, rather than being faced with like something actually going wrong, and that could be like really damaging to kind of both parties involved.
Yeah, so I've always seen it very tragically go wrong, like not so recently, and yeah, it's crazy that there's not more awareness about things like cross-contamination, because it is so pivotal in this process.
I'm blown my mind by the coffee thing. Like, it's crazy.
Yeah.
And I think training it's hard, training, adoption, everything else. Okay. So coming towards the end, which is really, sorry, I could probably go and talk to you forever. It's really interesting. And also for my wife, she's very happy that this is coming out. And also when we first met, I mentioned the allium thing, which my wife has an allium allergy. I won't go into it. And then you mentioned nightshade, and I was like, what is not? I thought it was like some secret society.
Yeah.
You know?
So that's funny, when we first met, and then we were just talking about allium, nightshade, tech for like non-stop.
Yeah.
It was amazing.
So it was interesting. So is that something that now those two have sort of come up, and because you mentioned the conversations, there's probably more and more coming out or coming up that are linking allergens together. Yeah. Is there something that being sort of built into the platform?
Yeah, so we are exploring how we can support beyond the top 14. Allergies aren't just like adding to the law. You know, like pea allergy, for example, is becoming a lot more prevalent. I think might be even like bigger than a sesame allergy now. Yeah, they can do to a lot of now pea, right, kind of vegan foods, pea protein coming in. It is, everyone has allergies and intolerances to so many different things, and restaurants are really starting to see that pattern change. Is not having that information to hand can take up to half an hour, even if you can find the information at time and service. Find it. So I think we're looking at how, like, restaurants, if they can provide the information, whether it's they have it for themselves or to a guest, like even now with some restaurants we work with, they have the information for garlic, onion, alcohol, and then dietary tags going beyond vegan, vegetarian, to whether it's pregnancy filters or religious filters or other dietary preferences, and just more and more restaurants seeing that it is like a financial benefit for them to provide the information.
Because people will order more, right? Yeah, they're not going to have a side salad. They're going to have something on the...
Order more, but they're actually going to get them in the door. Like, we track people who kind of served and then who goes on to book. Ooh, and it's a lot of people, and most people check before they go. So
that's my favorite thing. So on the 40% from that side, when you're now looking at the stats and being in real life, can you share some like stats of actual people using it from in store? It's not in store, but in store.
I think I mean we're definitely seeing the alignment with stats around the problem space that we discovered, and it's like, I think we're seeing on average like 66% of people are checking it online before they go.
It's amazing.
And then people go on then to book, and that's incredible to see.
You have to start pulling in conversion and sales data.
Exactly.
Right, this product made you 50 grand.
Exactly.
You know?
And then obviously we can see every time like restaurants are, like the operations team or whoever it might be, are actually updating a menu, and that's always like, wow, people are using it every day. That's amazing. And then
do you get to see, obviously you can tell if it's in store, like on location or via the website. What's the percentage of people like who've maybe never even seen it and are just grabbing it on that QR?
I think it's
we're getting so much web traffic. It's good, but I think generally it can be between 1/3 and 50%, not as on the QRs. But I think also we're also seeing just depending on the restaurants. Like Dishoom, you got so many walk-ins. The first month of going live had over 30,000 uses.
34,000,
That's awesome.
I know, and that's like mind-blowing.
No,
sure. It's not, and I think that's something that it's massively changed over even the past year, of like going into conversations and people being kind of scared to talk about allergies, and it's something that they sort of might bury their head in the sand. They don't want to. They're scared.
It's interesting.
But now it's.
I hate the web problem. It's just something that's been built into my mind. But when you speak to dev, you have a problem to fix. I get it. So there is a problem to fix, and you are fixing a problem that's massive.
Yeah.
And still, all this time, there are systems out there, but they're just very clunky of how they're currently been built over the years. Like, it's just that PDF has been generated by that system that someone has to sit there to do. And I feel it's been used for operations and not for customer facing.
No, not at all. And it's changed so much, and like people are really now they're not seeing it so much as a niche. They're reaching out to talk to us about it rather than us going out and trying to have conversations. And like the attitude.
Well, to be fair, two nice brands so far. I mean, does help, right? You know, so I mean I mean also, you know, you were hunting for Dishoom, so it's nice that the full circle moments happen. I could imagine, and my brain was going, I could imagine having, you know, you have like the stars on the front of the website. You know, you've got a nice logo that's recognizable. I can imagine restaurants having that on the front. You know, because it's that recognizing piece. Like the ordering table people have like logos in their design so that you know that they have it, but. You know, people walking the street like Dishoom, for example, and then they see it, and you know, to have a look at that little thing at the front is like
be that standard.
That is part of like that is our vision in terms of we want to really shift the narrative when it comes to speaking about allergies, and it shouldn't be such a stigma, but actually a positive thing where. Like one for restaurants, it's great for them if they can cater to this audience. Like they've got a lot of like 4 times more loyal customers coming back, spending more, but also like just the fact that it should just be something you can talk about, like help if you can destigmatize and having that conversation, then there's less risk of things going wrong. Also, I think something that we're just, I think, really trying to do is just turn it into that positive piece. And like really, ultimately, we want girls to go anywhere and eat anywhere and like have a great experience.
Or at least know where I can go. And like, we understand that not every restaurant with the cuisine that they do or the menu they have is for everybody. And that's absolutely fine.
You look at London, there's about 1 billion restaurants here. You can walk down Soho and there's 50 different types of cuisine.
Exactly. And it's about, I'm on this street, I want to know where I can go, what I can have. And if it's got that kind of like partnered with us, I know that they're going to give me transparent information and I can make that informed decision about where I go.
No, I love that. I love that. Oh, one other thing actually, once it came into my mind, I saw online a little while ago, someone was building because you've got defibrillator every hospitality restaurant, most 90%, you know, you can find a defibrillator walking 30 seconds down the street. There was a business, I don't know what it's called, but I saw it the other day, basically putting the pens that the
Fit Medical.
That was
awesome.
That was a really clever idea, because people, I would literally, a friend who has a peanut allergy just forgets to take the pen out, and also they feel like it. They feel like it's embarrassing, you know, to have it. And so when I'm like, crazy, like, what are you doing? Like, why? And this, having that potential option within there is such a clever idea.
I mean, first of all, carrying around your EpiPens is so important. Like, I have a bag to take them every single place I go. Literally, even if I'm like walking to the shop around the corner, like they're always with me. But we know that people can find them bulky. Also, I mean, I have done this. I've walked around and they've been out of date, and I've forgotten them. I've forgotten to check them, and I've been going out and eating in places and they're out of date. And so for me, those mistakes can slip through, even as someone who I think I'm quite on it with that. And having that almost like safety net of knowing I go to a restaurant or to they're in schools or in different sort of stadiums, knowing that there's like that backup there if needed, adds a whole sort of new level of peace of mind.
Well, I think the nice thing is as well, you don't have to worry about it. You just look for your logo and you'll be like, I'm going to go. Soon you'll have a plethora of places to choose from, right? Because then you'll be just going on your website and going through. Oh, let's try these ones out.
So young people, especially from the age of kind of 18 to 25, are most at risk of like something going wrong with their allergies, because they go from kind of maybe being at home where their family have been really supporting them to then say going off to university or going to work, and it's the first time they're taking it into their own hands, but also they're in a new environment, whether it's with new university friends or new colleagues, and there's that, again, it's that stigma around it. And we've had serious conversations with some friends who made it university, particularly boys as well.
You'll be fine. You'll be fine.
But and being like, they'll be like, oh yeah, I don't have my EpiPens on, like I don't take them out with me when I go. But they've now changed, and like they'll reel it and they now actually carry them around, and it's like so important. But it's just that one time where things have changed. I think it's so super important. Just, I think also I think how we position ourselves and our company is always the fact that is maybe the most at risk, and we're trying to be there and almost make it cool to talk about it.
That's what I love. I love that you are, because there's no stigma anymore. Well, if you're making an actual point to tell people that they can talk about it, there's no worry about it, and you're building the terminology around it to make it more comfortable, and it's just nice, and also it helps me. So the more you can have, the better. Would be great. Okay, amazing. I'm gonna give you a little round of applause. Thank you so much. We're gonna hit the final questions. Best restaurant. Whoever wants to go, you can choose. I don't mind.
I think it's just, for me, it's always about the experience I get at a restaurant. I think one that really comes to mind recently, Tom Bouton, ex-head chef at the Dorchester, he did a pop-up at the Oxo Tower, and that was just the food. I think I came back home and just said, that is something of the best that I've eaten. And just like the experience around it and how we talk through every meal. And it's just that just experience, like you feel like you're really on this journey with the food.
Yeah.
And then I always love when there's like an activity that goes along with food. I think I've got the passion for that. But I went to Bardo with my family like a year or so ago, and there was like live music along with the food. And I think just that kind of, it feels like you're there watching a concert, but having those amazing food as well. So yeah, again, that was amazing.
Nice. Go on, do you want to give me one?
Well, mine was...
This is tricky.
Mine were the ones that I gave before, but I do have a best burger in mind.
Go on, well, let's do burger now. Best burger.
So it was when we were in America, and there was a restaurant called Borough, and we go there, absolutely insane burger. And we actually found out that the owner of Borough had been to London, had tried all of the burgers in Borough Market.
Oh, wow.
Brought back all the inspiration from London and brought it to the US. And it was like...
That's insane.
It was like...
Right?
Yeah, I know. And we were like, this is amazing. We went there after we discovered that burger so many times.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
And it was like kind of comforting because it had like a bit of like home.
Yeah.
It's also different. Just
smashy style or patty style? Like, what was the...
Relatively smashed. I just remember like inhaling it. I don't even remember it. I just remember like I had it.
I hadn't seen it long enough.
Yeah.
So no, it was more like smashed, but not like really thin.
Yeah. Nice. Nice.
Amazing.
Nice. I'll have to get that website for you. And then, okay, best hotel.
All right. So I just stayed for a friend's birthday. So it's probably just the most recent of mine, I think.
Yeah.
But at Estelle Manor in Oxfordshire, and it was just... I think the beds are just like clouds. Like I've never slept like and I think just the food as well. Again, it's always about the food. Like
I find my way around London via the food. Yeah. So I'm very much in
just everything we ate, like what was meant to be just the casual lunch, like everything like I tasted, like drinks, food, canapes, like nibbles were just
insane.
Yeah.
Insane. Okay, we're on to the 2 questions for the next guest. Do you have 2 questions for the next guest?
I think maybe about their experiences and the key areas that they think within the guest experience around whether that's allergens or dietary requirements, where they think it can really be improved.
Okay, I like that.
I think it's a good thing to always just get someone's perspective, allergies or not, on what they think a good experience should be. So maybe actually, if you're someone with an allergy or dietary requirement, describe the perfect customer experience, because sometimes people, like, if they don't have any of them, they'll miss things. If they do, I've seen someone. So I think it's almost a good conversation to be had. Kind of, because it shouldn't just be on the person with the allergy to have to manage it all, but like it should be kind of everyone's in it together, and like everyone, you want to go out and enjoy food with everyone. So it should be an understanding that the conversation is being had with everyone.
I like that. Okay, another round of applause. Okay, you can give everyone a wave goodbye.